welcome back to my channel. It's really cold again, which is why I'm here with my scarf on, trying to keep some kind of warmth. So just to explain why I'm kind of bundled up. Today's video, I want to talk about stages of learning. Now, this is relevant across the board for anything that you are learning, whatever, but specifically in this video, obviously because of the nature of my channel, I'm going to link it to mental health. So I don't really know how else to get into it apart from getting straight into it. So it's editing Emma here, and it was at this point in the editing process that I realised that I have a white piece of fluff in my hair that I don't notice at all through this whole video, and it is all that you will notice now when you watch this video, and I'm sorry. Whenever you are learning a new skill, there is certain stages of learning that you go through, and I'm going to talk about that today. That's it. So you've decided you want to learn a new thing. I don't know, let's call it French. Let's just go with that. So you've decided that you want to learn French, and you think that'll be easy. I'll just pop in, I'll learn a few words and I'll learn French and that'll be great. So that first stage is that you are completely and utterly unconsciously incompetent. So you think it's going to be easy, you think it will be a relatively simple skill to pick up. You have no idea how useless you are. That's being unconsciously incompetent. You are not aware of your incompetence. You know you can't do it, but you think it'll be easy. You kind of, yeah, that'll be fine. Awesome. You're unconsciously incompetent. Then you move into becoming consciously incompetent. And sometimes, for the pessimists in us, we skip unconsciously incompetent and we just know that we can't do it. We just know that we're crap. We don't even try sometimes. But this stage of being consciously incompetent is where you are aware of just how useless you are. Usually this comes when you maybe have attended French class a couple of times and you haven't got a clue what they're saying, and you sit there thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. That's the kind of stage that we're at. The next stage of learning is to become consciously competent. Sometimes you'll be aware that you are doing okay. These two middle stages of being consciously incompetent and consciously competent kind of battle off each other for a long time. They are the stages where some days you'll get it right, some days you'll get it wrong, and it is that process of learning where you're aware that you're crap sometimes, and sometimes you're aware that you're okay. So it is that stage. That stage could go on for years. You know, you could happily sit there becoming completely aware that you suck and aware that you're okay at something sometimes. In terms of French, I guess that is when you're, I don't know, doing your GCSEs and you might actually pass a GCSE, but you still don't really know how to speak French sometimes, but sometimes you do and sometimes you don't, but you obviously must because you've done a GCSE in it and you did all right at it. So it's the conscious incompetence and the conscious incompetence that can kind of flip across each other for a long time. The final stage of learning a new skill, and when you can go, yeah, I got it, is when you hit unconsciously competent. So that's when you're just doing it. Yay, well done, you have learnt your skill. Now that is not to say that you are like expert level, no. You know, for example, if I go back to my previous video, instead of using French, if I talk about learning to drive, initially you think to yourself, oh my God, I'm gonna learn to drive, it'll be awesome, I can go and see my friends and I'll just be driving along, and you just think it'll be the easiest thing in the world. Unconsciously incompetent. Then you get to consciously incompetent. You sat there in the car, I ain't got a clue what to do. I've just stalled it, I've bunny hopped 8 times down the road, I'm never gonna be able to learn to drive, this is too hard. Then you get to, sometimes you're consciously competent. Oh, I managed that handbrake turn. Not handbrake turn, that's the wrong one. Oh, I managed that hill start. Oh, I managed that parallel park. Still can't drive, still bunny hopping. But I managed to drive for 10 minutes on my own today without the instructor having to do much. She didn't have to stop the car. That stage can vary. Sometimes people have driver lessons for years before they feel able to take their test and pass. And I would say that actually, when you pass your driving test, you're still in a state of consciously competent. You know you can drive, but it's a lot of effort. And it's only after a few years that you move into the unconsciously competent bit where you can just drive, you know, and you do the thing where you're sort of driving and then you're not really thinking about where you are or whatever, and you just appear somewhere. Like, you don't have to consciously think, I need to do this, this, and this in order to get to this place. So the stage of unconsciously competent is like the final stage. And the other thing I would say is that when you are unconsciously competent, like I said a minute ago, you are not an expert in any means. You know, you're not Lewis Hamilton just because you learn how to drive and you can drive. Generally, those are the stages of learning. The reason why I'm bringing that up on my channel is because you can relate that to mental health and to your growth in terms of doing shadow work, as people like to call it, but in terms of doing the work, those stages of learning are still massively relevant within mental health awareness. So you don't realise there's a problem at all. You're unconsciously incompetent. So that stage where you feel like you're absolutely broken, it's never going to change, you're stuck in it forever, nobody can fix you, you have all these problems, nobody understands, that is very much a consciously incompetent stage where you feel like it's never going to change, there's nothing anyone can do, and you're never going to get through it. That's a conscious incompetence. And then becomes, after you've taken some steps, you know, you start to put yourself out there a bit more, you start to change a bit more, you step into being consciously competent, where you can look back and go, oh, I did that thing and I did it. And you can start to really notice when your behaviours are different and how the outcomes are different. But it's a very conscious thing. It's a constantly being aware, noticing that outcome was different with that situation. That relationship is different with managing it differently. Today I feel differently because I've done this, this, and this. That self-care caused this. So it's kind of an arsenal of building up evidence that shows that you are competent, so that when you slip back into being consciously incompetent and you go, oh, I can't do this, you can go, hang on a minute, wait, you've got all this evidence to back up that you can do this. And it's a very different struggle when I'm talking about mental health compared to something like learning how to drive or learning French, like an actual skill. It's very, very different when it's a process of learning yourself and challenging yourself and changing your behaviours and rewiring your neural pathways. It's a very different process. After that stage, you get to the unconsciously competent. So that's when you just open up to people. You know, you don't feel that same fear of vulnerability around people because you've done it enough times to know that it's safe and it feels that way, and you step into that unconscious competence of a new way of being, and then you look back and go, oh my god, look how far I've come. Now, that's not the end of the journey. You know, it's not mental health wise, it's not that you are suddenly acing everything and you're awesome. And I would say that the thing that comes up with the stages of learning is obviously these are things that you want to do. And that's a key thing within mental ill health, is that you have to want to change and you have to choose to change and challenge those behaviours. And often that can be really, really scary and really hard to do. And I can't emphasise enough that can be really, really, really hard. Like, it's not just a case of, I'm going to see a therapist and they're going to make you better. You know, you have to really choose to step into that conscious incompetence, which can be really, really hard. And for example, learning French, you might think, God, I'm really crap at this. This is not something that I can do, and then stop going to lessons. You know, you might never get to that stage of being unconsciously competent if you don't step into those difficult steps in the middle. And I think when you're talking about mental ill health, those steps in the middle are not just as simple as getting off your backside and go into a French lesson. You know, it's challenging the very core of your coping mechanisms and who you thought you were as a person and how you think the world works. It's a major, major, major thing. So although, yeah, those are absolutely the stages of learning, it is not as simple as that. When is anything as simple as that on my channel? It just never is. But with this video, I just wanted to go into that a little bit, talk about the stages of learning, because with the awareness, with knowing that it's just a phase, with knowing that sitting there thinking, oh, I can't do this, is a process. And actually, the more that you do it, the more you will see that you're able to do it. Knowing that often gives people the push to keep going and keep doing it, instead of the safety mechanism of, I'm just going to step out of this. I can't do this. I now know I can't do this. I'm out, you know? So that's my video today. I don't know if it's been helpful. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I hope wherever you are, you're keeping safe and well, and I will see you guys in the next one.